This has been a video a lot of you guys have been wanting. You guys have highly requested where and how can I make my own 3D printed duct for the 2015 to 21 WRX and STI. The video is finally here in collaboration with Ryan from Church Automotive Testing. So the goal of this video is to just talk about my initial design. We're going to talk about his improvements, what he wanted to do to the new revision of the headlight duct. And also at the very end of the video, we're going to talk about the future steps we're going to be taking, talking about showing you guys in the next video, probably the installation of it, the mock-up, and pretty much the entire process from start to finish. Let's start with the reason I wanted to make the duct to begin with. So the duct for me was kind of like a passion project. So you guys know I love Subarus. I love my STI. It's something I've been wanting to do to the car, to own the car, modify it, yada, yada, yada. And I have seen somebody do a headlight duct on their VA STI, and I was like, man, that's a cool idea. Let me try to learn CAD a little bit and just start with a rough draft. So this is my initial pass of my duct. Very rudimentary, very simple, not perfect or elegant. There is nice cut marks on the very back of this. But the initial idea started out with how can I introduce more air into the engine bay, specifically the intake tract, because right behind this headlight specifically is where the stock airbox sits.
Yep.
And I wanted something that was OEM looking because for me, I want to keep the car as sleeper as possible. Especially if we're in California, you know, we don't want to attract unnecessary attention if possible. Definitely. And for me, I was like, okay, well, I want to retain as much functionality of the headlight as well. And that is where I came up with this solution to a headlight duct. Now, let's take out V2 for a second. So the initial headlight duct was okay. Had some issues, had some fitment issues, which is why a lot of you guys have been asking like, oh, where can I buy it? Can you release it? Can you release the STL file? And I said no, because honestly, I know it can be better. I wouldn't be happy if I put out a subpar product. Well, with Ryan having the background that he has, which he'll talk about in a second, I knew this was going to be the right person and the right team, essentially, to bring this idea to life. So now, Ryan, let's talk about, you know, your new duct and all the iterations you kind of went with it, and your background, I guess, too.
Yeah. So this is V2, kind of going off of what Alberto had already made. Obviously, we made some adjustments just to get it to actually like fit nicely, be flush to the back side of the headlight. Trying to actually cut the underside of this. We introduced a nice flange there to sit on the headlight lens a little bit nicer. It's all cut to match the complex curvature of the front of that lens, kind of a compound curve. So
what does that mean, you know, for somebody that doesn't know what a compound curve is?
A compound curve is curvature that goes in multiple directions. Okay. So like, obviously a plane is not a compound curve, but like
one-dimensional. Yeah.
Exactly. When you have a curve this way and in that direction too, you get a compound curve. So making sure that you cut to that actual surface, that you get this nice cut along the back of the bezel is what will ensure that it's going to fit flush to that surface. So that would be the lens of the headlight. So we did that. And then, just overall, just making it a little bit sleeker, making it kind of flow a bit better with the headlight in general, and
some ergonomics, stuff like that.
Yeah, most definitely. So.
And for me, you know, when I made the initial draft of this, I made it in Fusion 360. Fusion 360 is a free to download software that anyone can download. And honestly, guys, I taught myself using YouTube as well as some form of AI. And you know what, guys, that was not planned, but for a first attempt, it was not bad. What do you think of my first draft? You can tell me brutally honest.
Yeah, I mean...
Well, and you have to also consider, this guy, for the most part, did this prior to being here as a tuner full-time. He did this as a career, right?
Yeah.
You were doing a lot of composites and...
Yeah, so I worked in aerospace for like 3 or 4 years before this as a mechanical engineer, so pretty much all I did all day was CADing. Specifically, I did a lot of tool design for composite stuff, so anything from big wing sections, structures, things like that, skins, leading edges. So that's kind of my background. I had to get fairly good at surfacing and surfacing tools and some of these different CAD softwares, ranging from SolidWorks to NX to, you name it, and we used it. So definitely lends a hand to being able to make stuff like this, and it allows me to make fairly quick work of like more simple stuff, and yeah, so hopefully we'll have something that'll have a little bit better fit and finish, and something that'll be super easy for install, because that's the other big thing too, is having a process for install that's very easy to follow.
Yeah.
All the cut lines will be outlined. You'll get a template with it, and it should make the process pretty straightforward.
Yeah, and that's a big thing that we've talked about as well. And unfortunately, I feel like every time I want to have the three of us together, Ryan, Matt, and I, it's like one of the two are busy. So, but Matt's in charge of all the scanning. So that's what these are. These are pretty much reference points, to my understanding, on you can place on any object you want to scan. And it's essentially points that the scanner can reference as, think of like anchor points, I guess, in a way, right?
Yeah, it allows you to remain tracking across your scan. So, like sometimes if surfaces are difficult for that scanner to pick up, you can lose tracking. The other thing too is just, again, like you were saying, reference points for it to pick up as well.
And you guys missed I'll overlay it here on the screen, but you guys missed Matt initially spraying the headlight with cornstarch. Why do you guys use cornstarch when you guys want to scan something?
Yeah, so we found that, like, I mean, you can get 3D scanning sprays. They sell them, and it's essentially the same thing. It's like a white powder. You spray it on whatever you're about to scan, and the scanner has a much easier time picking up, like, all the little things that it was previously struggling to pick up, like whether it's curves, edges, like these translucent headlights are a little tough on that scanner sometimes. And so giving it some sort of, like, opaque texture can help a bit. And so that's where the cornstarch comes in. It's our way of just like alcohol and cornstarch in a spray bottle. It's a cheap and easy solution versus spending a ton of money on, spray on scan products that they honestly cost an arm and a leg, and it's the exact same freaking shit. So
there's no point in spending money that you don't have to.
Especially if you're scanning a lot of stuff. Like for us, like we're scanning a ton of different things, and
he's also working on, so for the BMW audience that I don't have, but he's scanning his 1 Series over there. He's also did some work for his 2 Series, his M240i. A lot of interest in the headlight deletes, specifically for that market. And I'll say this, so we had a customer or potential person of interest rather, they sent out a VB WRX headlight, and looking at the headlight itself, the reason why certain models work better than others, which maybe we can talk a little bit more in the next section or next video, we have so many physical constraints, right? So the reason why this one works specifically so well is because the passageway that is going to be the duct or the pass-through, the only thing it got rid of was my high beam. Everything else, I kept all functionality, as well as integrity of the lens itself. A lot of people were wondering, do I have to deal with moisture issues on the V1 iteration that I made? I never had any issues, and the only thing that was keeping that sealed was some AutoZone weather stripping, along with some black Permatex, which we've talked about. How are we going to make sure this thing seals properly? And also, like we talked about, we want to make this as easy as possible for you guys. So that is the nice thing about what Ryan did with the flange. I mean, like, let's just put it in here real quick and see just how it sits. Yeah, I mean, look at that, guys. Like, that is so nice. That is exactly what we want, especially when we're going to present this to a customer or customers. We want to make installation as easy and painless as possible. And ideally, make it so anybody can do this, whether you are the hardcore mechanic or the average DIYer at home. And that's something that we are aiming to do with this product specifically. And back to the VB WRX, that headlight unfortunately is not going to work for this kind of, pass-through. Yeah. Because of the architecture of the car itself, with the bumper and how everything sits with the headlight. The only option there really is going to be a headlight delete. Yeah, it's a delete. And which is a whole other beast itself, because to my understanding, can you talk about how this is a lot easier than, let's say, an actual delete?
Yeah, I mean, to do an actual delete, like, first off, you gotta have it, like, you gotta have a reason to do that. But like, let's just say you did have a reason to do a full headlight delete. From a build standpoint, like what I have to deal with on my end, like, this is quick. This is super easy. Headlight delete, it's not that bad, but it just is more time consuming, because you got to take into account pickup points, like where it's going to mount. Yep. You got to make sure that, like, the fitment is freaking perfect. Like, What's nice about this is like that some of that fitment can be taken up on, like, it's going to be taken up on how you cut the lens, and there's going to be some amount of wiggle room there where you'll actually physically be able to align it how you want it.
Yeah.
Versus like there's no wiggle room really on a bumper and a fender and how they come together other than some light adjustment. So your fitment's got to be really money. All your pickup points got to be there. If you have obstructions, like things behind it, like frame rails and stuff that you got to snake through, that's a consideration for sure. So yeah, it's just a little bit more involved. It's not that it's impossible. It's not that it's just time. That's it. So definitely a more involved process than just a simple duct.
Yeah, and just to be transparent with you guys, for anyone that's interested in any future things that, let's say, Ryan could draft up and create, because he can literally make anything. He makes some pretty good stuff. But the VB market isn't quite there. We don't have the demand as much as, let's say, like this headlight pass-through for the VA. So, obviously, Ryan's not a company. He's not a huge, he doesn't have employees. So ideally, we're going to be spending our time where we see the most return, just to be transparent and honest. And I'm really excited to see what we can come up even more with the VA chassis, potentially the VB chassis, or any other platform specifically. I'm sure, if you guys are coming from Instagram or Facebook, which some of you guys are now from Facebook, which welcome. It's going to be cool to see the future of Ryan's direction on, the 3D printing side of things, but not only just 3D printing. You said like CNC machining and stuff like that, right?
Yeah, everything.
Yeah.
Looking to take on stuff 3D printing is a tool, right?
Yeah.
It's a tool, and it'll fill a niche of products or things that you can produce and parts that you want to make. Outside of that, you've got CNC work, making actual billet pieces. You have now 3D printing out of metal, which is a very awesome new tool to add to the tool belt, and we're about to send some stuff out in the next week or two to do some experimental prints with that, and just kind of see what quality looks like there. But yeah, and each one has their own unique use case. Something simple like a headlight delete duct, it makes sense to 3D print something like that.
What material is it out of, by the way, for the people wondering?
So for just the test prints and stuff like that, we've just been using PLA. PLA is super cheap, it's really quick, it's really easy to print.
Quick and dirty.
Yeah, there's no reason to go spending a ton of money to do test prints for fitment. Once we get into it, though, we'll probably use something a little bit more high temp, maybe PHTCF or nylon, like some sort of like nylon or carbon fiber infused something.
Right.
Just to help out with temps and durability and things like that. So, but for now, just for test fit purposes, we usually stick with PLA or like PLACF. Any of those are really, or like even PETG. Like PETG works great.
PETG, so. my favorite 4-letter acronym for the 3D printing stuff. It just sounds funny. And for the people that are probably wondering, how far would you say we are from an actual product release? We're extremely busy here. We've been wanting to make this video now for like almost a month and a half or something.
Yeah.
Just sparingly, we try to have time, and we're just really busy here. But back to release date. When do you think?
I'm hoping about a month. So,
okay.
Yeah, like the things
that'll hang. I expected, but
the things that'll hang us up, it's not really like the duct. The duct's like I'd say 90% there as of right now. Really, the only things that I would be seeing as a hang up is like just to make the template, and then more so test the process of actually cutting it and make sure that it's easy and seamless, and like
which we
the
will
template lays over it. You can mark it, like everything's laid out for you,
yeah.
And it's just super clear where you want to cut. Min and max lines, and then just even try and make one for the back of the housing too, so you guys can cut that open. And then like even down to including like RTV
yeah.
and even like a long tip syringe or something like that to be able to get to the back of the duct. So those are all like little things that I think that's what will take more time than the actual duct itself. Because the duct itself, I'd say, is probably at 90-95% there as far as fitment goes. It's just kind of figuring out a process for somebody to install it.
Yeah, so that's what we're going to be doing in the next video. The next video, ideally, we're going to take my new WRX, or used headlights. We're going to take the lens off of those, slap it onto this housing, and we're going to show you guys exactly how to cut, and we're going to walk you through and see like the test fitment process of our new, I guess, V2/V3 duct, the one that's going to be up for release. And you guys are going to see how the product works, how we use the template and everything. So ideally, it's going to be an instructional video that's going to coincide or go with the the ultimate, like the release of the product itself. And also, honestly, we have kind of discussed pricing a little bit, just at least ballpark numbers, but we don't have a set number in mind. We really just have to look at what other ducts and other deletes are kind of getting priced at, because it really depends on, to my understanding, you said like what the thing's made out of, right?
Yep.
Certain aspects like that. So all those details will probably be answered in the next video. But for now, I just wanted to come out here and we wanted to, show you guys our V2, our duct that we have so far, because a lot of you guys, especially on Instagram, have been sending those the fry memes, take my money.
Oh, blowing up the comments or the DMs for sure. Yeah. So it's not just these. It's like Camaros, BMWs, like somebody.
It's a weird
Toyota Camry.
Yeah.
It's nonstop.
Camry. That's
everything, and I'm getting headlight delete requests from every genre of vehicle now, so it's pretty crazy.
Yeah, so make sure you guys follow his Instagram. I'll put it down below in the description. If you're not following me or the shop, I'll also put it down below in the description, guys. We have a lot of exciting stuff coming up here on the at the shop. We're gonna get a new dyno, which I kind of talked about with Sean in the last couple of videos. I think that should be arriving probably like July, August?
Yeah, I'd say like middle of summertime.
Yeah. It's gonna be a lot of exciting content here in the shop, and Sean also pitched to me some good ideas. So we're gonna be doing a lot more stuff with Sean and everybody else here. So make sure you guys subscribe. Make sure you like this video so more people see it, and we can show our very cool design off. And let me know down below in the comments if you guys are interested in seeing that kind of process that we talked about in the next video. We're gonna be doing it anyway. But I'm very excited to show you guys this because, like I said, this started out as a passion project for me. I wanted to kind of learn a new skill. I mean, compared to me, I'm like on a whole different level. Like I'm down here and this guy's like up here as far as knowledge. But it's been awesome. I've been really thankful for this guy having being here. He's helped me out in tuning, starting to learn the basics there, and as well as I'm really excited to see the direction this guy goes in the next few years. So, yeah. Anyways, we'll catch you guys in the next video, and see you on the next one.